Bonjour and congratulations to Paris Saint-Germain for winning the Champions League last night. Very impressive 5-0 win against Inter Milan. But that's not the only win they celebrate. They also announced the establishment of a Bitcoin strategic reserve this week at the Bitcoin Las Vegas conference, which was, I think, one of the largest conferences in crypto that ever happened. A lot of politicians were there and a lot of TradFi, Web2, big names, big household names. So that happened, 2 wins for Paris Saint-Germain in 1 week. Congratulations to all Parisiens. Now, maybe one day Paris will also establish an Atom strategic reserve. That would be cool. But until then, we're going to do our best to spread the word, to recruit and onboard new developers in new regions that are actually very dense in quality developers, like the Balkans, one of the most underrated regions for crypto in 2025. And that's why we're going there, not only with customers in late October, but also next week, the crew and I will be at ETH Belgrade. We're actually sponsors. We have a booth there. We're going to give out flyers. We're going to spread the word about Cosmos, Cosmoverse, and also how to get connected to the ecosystem. So if you're in Belgrade, then please hit us up. We're going to be in Belgrade from basically tomorrow until June 8th, and then 3rd to 5th is the conference. And then after that, we're headed straight to Split, Croatia, which is also the location for Cosmoverse, late October this year. And why we're going there? Well, one, to finalize on-ground stuff with hotel, with the vendors, with production, with logistics. So that's one thing. The second thing is also because there is a Solana Super Team Startup Village cohort or hackathon type of event that goes for 9 days, and we're going to be there as well. So Solana and Ethereum communities are both aggressively onboarding people and educating and building communities in the Balkans. And with customers, we're also trying to catch up there. And we have very good relationships with both of these teams and organizers. So there's definitely going to be a lot of synergies. And considering that the Balkans are just very dense in quality EVM developers, which I think plays a lot into the roadmap for Cosmos this year as well, with IBC Eureka, with Toki that just announced the connection on testnet for IBC on Optimism as well. So a lot of things are cooking on the IBC side of things, and a lot of the chains are betting more and more on the EVM. With Berachain, Sane Network that just doubled down on the EVM, and Abundance Cosmoverse smart contracts with Injective. And eventually we'll have the Cosmos EVM, which was formerly called FMOS, to be deployed natively on the Cosmos Hub this summer. Now, catch us in Belgrade or Split next week or the week thereafter. And if you're planning to come to Cosmos late October, there's the very last chance right now for you to get early bird tickets. They're actually ending in a few hours. And then tomorrow we're going to start with general admission tickets, but early birds are ending today. So by the time you're watching this video, you probably have only a few hours left to acquire your early bird tickets. This is a full access ticket, $39, gives you absolutely everything. And after that, we're going to switch to general admission ones at a higher price. Now, what you can also do, besides getting your ticket, is you can also directly book your hotel room, which I think will land at a very, very solid deal at 105 euros, 105 euros a night for a single bedroom and 120 euros for a double bedroom. So I think that's a very solid deal for a 5-star seaside resort that's also family friendly. So you can come with your whole team, your whole crew, friends, family. It's kid friendly, everything, right? And I think this is also the vibes we want to have this year at Cosmoverse, is to make it, to restore the 2021 vibes. And we have some speakers in the lineup that will remind you of the 2021 vibes. I'm just going to put it like that. But speaker announcements coming soon, first tracks announcements coming very, very soon. So to lock in the best deal, I strongly recommend you to catch the early bird tickets before they're gone. Now, I wish that a lot of this technical innovation, excitement, and also bullishness that I personally have, but also the things that are cooking in the background in Cosmos were to reflect on the charts, but they're not. And Cosmos is just lagging behind, underperforming collectively as an ecosystem, not just Atom. But if you look at TIA, back at where it launched in 2023, right? It launched in October 2023. So back at $2.18, actually below that. I think when it came out, it launched at $2.30 or something. So TIA, absolutely crazy valuation. Injective 11.76, Sane Network below 20 cents, DYDX 54 cents, Akash 128, Osmosis 21 cents, Babylon 6.5. Crazy valuations for quality coins, quality projects. But yeah, I think the time for Cosmos will eventually come. That is my true conviction. And I think that one day, sooner or later, Cosmos will catch a bid collectively as an ecosystem. And I think we could probably get there faster with a stronger Atom. So I personally think, even though there's no fundamental connection between Atom and the rest of the ecosystem, right? If Atom were to go to absolutely zero tomorrow, it would not affect Celestia. It would not affect Akash Network, right? Besides the kind of brands and reputation. But this is the whole point of Cosmos, right? Sovereignty and interoperability. We saw it with the Terra collapse, right? Besides a liquidity void that was left, there was no fundamental meltdown or halt or collapse of the Cosmos ecosystem, right? On a technical level. So eventually, I think Cosmos will catch a bit, but a strong Atom will mean that, people get excited again, they get curious again, and it just kind of represents the health of the Cosmos ecosystem. So Atom needs to get back to the top 20 ASAP. Right now ranked 60. 5 years ago, it was ranked in the top 20. Now it's ranked 60. Well, still on page 1. So it did survive, but it definitely underperformed. And there's other stars now in the spotlight in crypto. But yeah, that's that, and that's my personal opinion. Atom needs to get back to the top 20, needs to get back to $10, $15, $20 ASAP for Cosmos to catch an early bid, right? I think even if that doesn't happen or it happens a bit later, Cosmos will still eventually catch a bid, but then we'll just have less gains than other ecosystems. And I think right now Cosmos Hub, with all the things that are cooking, is in a relatively good position, because there are actually now major shifts that have happened with the new leadership that we have with IBC Eureka that is now live, that actually positions the Cosmos Hub at the epicenter of Cosmos, and also acts as a decentralized router, accruing value from IBC v2 that just went live a few months ago. It is still mainly unused because there's no product to really take it to market, but a product that will take it to market is StrideDEX, and StrideDEX is now in submitted for audit, so definitely will come next. And I think July, maybe August, we're going to see StrideDEX live on the Cosmos Hub after or with the launch of permissionless EVM smart contracts. So I think those will be two major product releases: Cosmos EVM on the Cosmos Hub, permissionless EVM contracts, and also StrideDEX, right? And that will, I think personally, that is the game plan. That will take IBC Eureka to market, and with integrations in Fetch, Babylon, even in Polaris and Osmosis and all these other projects and DeFi chains in Cosmos, there is a chance that Atom can catch a bit through that, because there's now strong positioning at the center of the Cosmos ecosystem. So I'll keep you posted on that. In the meantime, big shout out to the Toki team that is based out of Japan, that has done God's work on advancing IBC and also making it compatible with BNB chain and now also with Optimism. So the first ever testnet IBC transaction between the Optimism Sepolia testnet and Ethereum has happened. So that's a IBC connection between two EVM stacks basically. And I think if this really establishes itself as the default bridging solution or interoperability solution, then I think it's kissing goodbye for Cosmos in the longer term, right? Because this is fundamental, resilient, battle-tested technology that's been around for many years and keeps expanding and being integrated into all of these ecosystems. So shout out to Toki for that. They also have a campaign going on right now. We talked about it in the last video with Bad Kids, where you can potentially get an airdrop. Toki is pre-TGE. I'm not even sure what their plans are. But yeah, this is a big, big announcement, and congratulations. And thanks also for Toki to build out IBC and to integrate it to the EVM world, which is also very helpful for customers this year, because we are targeting EVM developers. And I think as a builders first conference, that is very appealing to a lot of the people. Also, big shout out to Fetch AI and Secret Network. They have now partnered, and I love to see more and more partnerships like that. We actually have another one that is interesting, but Fetch AI and Secret Network are partnering for verifiable, privacy-preserving AI agents. So that is a very, very important thing, I think, in this AI world that is advancing. Big shout out to Fetch and Secret Network for that. They also have Fetch in that sense has also shipped ASI1 on the mobile version. We talked about this when AS1 was announced, and now they also have a mobile version of that. So Fetch aggressively pushing, releasing more and more products, making more user-friendly, more partnerships and integrations. This one with Secret, by the way, is also built on a shared Cosmos SDK foundation, right? So this is made in Cosmos fully, both projects, and I think AI is really at the forefront in Cosmos, right? Cosmos ecosystem projects are dominating AI, not only Bitcoin with Babylon, not only modularity with Celestia, or EVM with, say, even Kronos, right? Which is a full-on Cosmos SDK blockchain, but also in AI, specifically in AI, right? So on this list, on this top 20, there's actually 4 Cosmos SDK chains. I'll give you a second to think about, to go through this and see, do you recognize all of them? But yeah, the first one is, of course, ranked 4th, Artificial Superintelligence Alliance, Fetch. Then 7th, we have Story Protocol, full-on Cosmos SDK blockchain. EOS Network, which I think a lot of people probably don't know, but EOS is also a full-on Cosmos SDK blockchain. And then, of course, Akash Network, which is also my strongest bet in the AI sector for this cycle. Akash has also announced a partnership and integration with Saga. So Rebecca, the CEO of Saga, has also tweeted about this, that like 3 years post-investment, they have finally made an integration that Akash is running on Saga chainlets. And Saga is not only well-positioned in the gaming space, but also in the AI space with their agents and their chainlet ecosystem that they have built, where also I think Eliza OS and some others are running their models. So they also made a full-on blog post about this. In the meantime, I think Saga is very, very busy and laser focused on building out LIL, the liquidity integration layer, which is also their DeFi layer. I think they crossed $15 million in TVL now, and it keeps growing continuously. So Saga, definitely one to watch. I would never write them off. Same for other projects like Nillion or even Berachain, right? Even though the prices are an absolute trash, in the trash bag right now, but they have not even seen a bull run, right? They have never seen a bull run. And I think that this is the new Cosmos, right? The new Cosmos, the new faces, the new blue chips of Cosmos, because many of the V1 2021 Cosmos coins are probably not going to make it, right? Some will, but many probably not. And I think it is very important to always stay at the pulse of innovation. So that's why Saga is one to watch. Also, Injective is one of the V1 coins that is still around though. And even though with Cito we just dropped out of the set, which is very unfortunate after they have reduced the set and reshuffled some of the foundation delegations. They delegated everything away from us for some reason that I can't really understand, but it is what it is. Win some, lose some. If you're an Injective INJ whale, please reach out to me and reach out to us. That's that. But Chorus One also published this report about their assets that they have launched. And Injective is basically now very much focused on tokenizing stocks. So building a liquid marketplace for asset tokenization. I think that has been one of the major struggles in crypto so far for DeFi. And if Injective can really achieve this, I think they have a very, very strong positioning. And this is a very clear direction and clear focus that Injective has. So we'll keep you posted with or without delegation, but would be cool to get back into the active set, of course. Then we also have some news about Mantra, formerly the shining star for asset tokenization in the sense of real estate, but also other RWAs. And they have now announced a partnership with Dimitra, which sounds Russian, but it's actually a tokenization project from Mexico. So they're tokenizing cacao production in the Amazon and carbon credits in Mexico. So that's a partnership that's coming a bit out of nowhere, but nonetheless, I think something to watch. Mantra, they're really, really trying very, 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 very hard to restore trust and restore faith in the project, in the team, in their ability to ship, deliver, conclude partnerships, tokenize assets. So yeah, they're back to builders mode, back to square one after the catastrophic price collapse. And if there's any news around that, I'll definitely keep it posted. But so far, we're seeing more and more partnerships announcements like these. Then big shout out to Yelena from Noble, CEO at Noble, founder and CEO. Noble is about to cross, or just crossed actually, $100 million in USDN. So their native stablecoin, the Noble dollar, $100 million, very, very impressive, 4% yield. And they're aggressively scaling the team, building out on all ends basically, and I think they're preparing for their TG as well, which you can also farm points for with USDN. So we'll keep you posted here for sure. And Noble is also building out their own application layer, so that's going to be interesting too. I think just overall the trend is more going towards each sovereign Cosmos chain or sovereign chain in general, Cosmos or not, they need to have their own liquidity environment, their own DeFi environment, and their own basic app, DApp primitives, right? Like marketplaces, lending protocols, all those sort of things. And we're seeing it now with Noble. We're seeing it with the Cosmos Hub that is also building that, right? Torchain is doing it and many others. So that's where it's headed. And speaking of DeFi, DYDX, the former kings of perp dexes before Hyperliquid came around. But Hyperliquid is only around since 6 months or something like that. So let's give them some more time in the market to really prove themselves. In the meantime, DYDX has been around for much longer, many years actually, on mainnet, and changed the engine mid-flight with their switch from the Starkware L2 to launching their own Cosmos Layer 1 blockchain optimized for perps trading, but also now they're expanding and adding more and more use cases. There will also be a spot DEX eventually and more features. So they're constantly improving UX UI. They're fairly decentralized with their decentralized validator set and also just the way the chain is architectured. And they also have now an aggressive buyback program where 1.05 million DYDX tokens were just bought back, around 600K right now. And if you look at Hyperliquid, they're buying back around $2 million of their own token every single day, because that's how the tokenomics works. So probably even more at this point, but like $2 to $3 million in buy pressure every single day from fees of the product, right? And Hyperliquid is just crazy, the most successful product out there right now. I think annualized they're accruing $600-700 million in fees, and large chunk of that goes into buying back hype tokens. So that's that. DYDX also has a buyback program, by the way, also for Stride, the Stride token. I think there's some very interesting tokenomics there, especially with the launch of Stride DEX. And we do have a Stride tokenomics breakdown coming very, very soon on the Cito Zone Twitter account. We'll probably also break it down here on YouTube. Finally, also, just had a fantastic conversation with Vijay, starting off my series of founder interviews that are now coming back. So Vijay is in the books. It was a very, very nice conversation. Very nice guy, smart guy, experience with BlackRock before joining crypto in 2015, worked at Ripple, worked at Uniswap, DYDX, and now the CEO of Eclipse since a year and something. And Eclipse, the ES token, is about to launch as well. In fact, I think next week we're going to have a standalone episode on Eclipse with a full kind of history of the project, and as many information that are publicly available by then. But yeah, the next interview is going to be with Miguel de Vega from Nillion, and around that time they also are planning for something larger to announce. So Miguel is going to come June 12th. That's the next one. Then Dean Tribble, the man himself, been a frequent guest over the past years, coming back on Cito on June 24th. And then a live stream with Jay, the co-founder of Saylab. So Jay has been here on the channel around 2 years ago. I think it's time for him to get back to also share more insights on why they are abandoning Cosmoverse smart contracts and doubling down on the EVM, and also generally their thoughts on the Cosmos ecosystem, because Say still remains a Cosmos SDK blockchain, of course. But yeah, that's that. And then another one, very interesting one, which I'm very much looking forward to. I think this one is probably going to be the most technical out of them, with Scott Dykstra from Space and Time. And Space and Time is a project that is officially funded by the Microsoft, I think it's the M12 fund, but a Microsoft fund basically, and also have very, very close ties and integrations with Microsoft. So that is interesting, and we'll talk about kind of the architecture, what it all means, what Space and Time resolves. They're in the data field, so I think something in between of the Graph and Ocean Protocol. But yeah, we're going to learn all about it in this live stream on July 1st. So until then, I hope you have a great time. Get your Cosmoverse tickets. Also, we'll see you hopefully next week in the Balkans, Belgrade, then Split. And if not, I'll see you back on Cryptocito. Until then, stay safe and be good.